Hey, what's going on? Scott Taylor with SanDiegoRealEstateHunter.com. In this video, I want to break down 5 or 6 awesome San Diego real estate hacks if you want to pay cash, close fast, and hopefully get a discount. You know, in recent messages to you, I talked about what I see as current mortgage trends in San Diego, what I'm seeing on the ground as far as real estate. I set out an e-alert and put it on my blog as far as the different San Diego mortgage rates dropping significantly across the board for all loans, as well as latest stats. Don't forget, as always, show notes and some more things are below this video as far as links out. And don't forget, I just want to be very, very clear on all these videos and all these posts. You know, I've been doing real estate since just past 2001, September 11th, 2001. I've been buying, selling, investing in San Diego and many countries overseas as well. So I give it from my on-the-ground perspective. I don't do fluff. I don't do, they're not making any more land, so buy it and all this different kind of stuff. I just call it as I see it. You might agree. You might disagree. You might agree with a portion of it. That's okay. We all have our own perspective based off what we're doing in our lives. So let's get into it now. 5 hacks for buying a San Diego house fast for cash and at a discount, okay? So before we begin, I want to be on the same page as far as what I'm talking about as far as cash, because there's very many misconceptions. So what I'm talking about, when you're buying a house for cash, it's cash, physical cash that's sitting in a checking account, right? Like your checking account, your savings account, a money market, so you have easy access to it. Or you might have set up a truly self-directed IRA, or it's known as a checkbook IRA. Again, look below the video. There's links to some other things that I've done on that. But essentially, a lot of people are going to have an IRA, and they believe that they can invest in anything. They can't. In those traditional IRAs, you cannot invest in real estate. One easy thing that you can do is you transfer it from a self-directed IRA to a truly self-directed IRA, where you literally can get a checkbook. With that check, you can buy real estate. Obviously, if you have any stocks, bonds, mutual funds, etc., that you can sell to pay cash. And then, of course, if you want to tap into any personal or 0% interest rates as for business cards, which is a huge one, I'll be doing something very soon on. Of course, if you tap into home equity, etc., right? So cash means cash. I am not talking about a mortgage loan. I am not talking about a hard money lender, because guess what? A hard money lender is a hard money loan. Somebody still comes out to look at the property, and you may or may not get the loan. So a hard money loan is a misconception. It's not cash. It's still a hard money loan. And let's keep in mind with sellers, unless a seller is doing seller financing, right? Like you put down 5 or 10%, they agree to carry that extra 90%, and they do seller financing, you pay them every month. They get cash regardless, right? Think about this. If you give them cash, they get cash. If you get a mortgage loan at the close of escrow, what do they get? They get cash. So it's irrelevant to a seller. A lot of people, you're like, oh, hey, I'm getting a hard money loan. Can I get a great discount? Or, hey, I want to pay cash, but I still want to do the same things as if I was doing a loan. Can I get a discount? No. What does a seller care, right? I'm licensed to do real estate. I'm licensed to do mortgage loans. We, generally speaking, escrows in San Diego are 30 days or less, even with mortgage loans. Many now are 25 or 21 days or less. Some lenders are guaranteeing 15 days or less start to finish on mortgage loans. So we can close escrow very quickly these days, even if we get a mortgage loan. Therefore, you need to use these 5 hacks if you want to pay cash, close fast, and at a discount. So hack number 1, faster escrows. Just like I said, generally speaking in San Diego, it's about a plus or minus 30-day escrow. Again, everything's negotiable, but I have to use some assumptions here. 30 days or less. Many people now want 25 days or 21 days. Some lenders are guaranteeing 15 days or less from start to funding or closing. So one of the benefits, if you truly are a cash buyer, is you have to do it fast. So I would recommend a maximum 10-day escrow if you're paying for cash. I talked to one of my wholesale lenders, and they have a special program depending on what someone puts down, blah, 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 that they can guarantee in 12 days or faster. That's with a mortgage loan with a highly qualified person with all their documents in and stuff. So the only way to beat those types of things if you are a cash buyer, is to close in 10 days or less, right? That's like, if you go into escrow on a Monday, that next Monday is 7 days, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So you're going to be closing that next Thursday. Close shop. So hack number 1 is a faster escrow. So hack number 2, no contingencies. Okay, so when we go, and for the state of California and for San Diego specifically, when we go into escrow, there's different contingencies in place to protect the buyer. Right? There's things like buyer's inspections. There's things like a contingency removal for a loan or for appraisal, etc. Well, guess what? If you are a buyer and you're paying cash and you close faster, what really helps as well is if you remove contingencies. Now, let me be very, very clear. I am not saying don't buy a great property. I am not saying you personally don't look around. I am not saying maybe to hire a licensed third-party home inspector to still come out within that time frame, so But in your offer, you're gonna remove those contingencies. So that means that you're buying it as is. That's what as is that you're buying it with no contingencies. So keep that in mind, because the seller, okay, cool, we can close fast. Let's just use 10 days. And I know when we sign, essentially, they can't back out because they didn't like the plumbing or because of some issue. Otherwise, they would go a different route. So why don't we go to hack number 3? And this one is very, very important, is have your cash ready. So when we put the offer in, okay, we're paying cash. We're going to close quick. We're going to have no contingency removals. Or like no contingencies, and we want to provide proof of funds. Proof of funds shows that you have that money ready to pay cash, and we provide proof of where it is. Okay, this is very important. That's where you'd have it in your checkings or savings or money market or someplace ready. And by the way, or a self-book, a checkbook IRA that you already know because you've checked how long it takes to get those funds. And by the way, if you're like, hey, well, I have money in stocks or I have money in a 401k, right? And I'm going to tap into that. I have enough. And then I'm going to use that, or there might be some different strategies, right? Like maybe you're going to have home equity because you're selling in Northern California. A lot more clients now are coming from LA, from San Francisco, from Fresno, from San Jose, etc. I'm going to use some of that equity. I have some cash saved up and, a few different things. That's great, but it's got to be simple and it's got to be easy. Another thing that people do is say, hey, Scott, I have money tied up in a 401k or stocks or bonds. And if when I find something, then I'm going to act. You have to keep in mind how long it takes once you've signed a contract for you to actually get that money, okay? So keep that in mind. So hack number 4. So we know that we want to close faster. We know that we want to have no contingencies. We know that we want to have cash ready. And here's hack number 4, because if we are closing in plus or minus 10 days, so they know that you're serious, put a penalty on yourself. Okay, here's what I mean. We're closing in 10 days or less. If it's our buyer's fault, right? I'm going to represent you as the buyer. If it's one of our faults from our side only, we're not talking about escrow. We're not talking about the seller. We're not talking about anything act of God. We're not talking about anything that we don't control. Like if you don't have your money ready, if, days we're going to put it in something, right? Could be, if we're doing a 10-day escrow, let's just say on day 11, or it could be starting on day 13, or however we phrase it, okay? But let's just start on day 11 to keep it simple. On day 11, we agree to pay you X dollars per day until we close. What does that do? That lets them know, hey, these guys are serious. They're even going to put a penalty in place themselves to close as fast as they can. That lets the seller know, wow, these people are serious. They really want to do it, and they really want to close fast. So I'm going to go on now to hack number 5. Okay, so offer them a rent back if needed. Think about it from a seller standpoint, right? A seller is in a property. They do want to sell it. We're putting in a cash offer to close quick because we want a discount. Okay, they might not have everything lined up. What's a common thing is people want to make sure that it closes, right, before they leave. Even if we don't do a cash buy, a lot of this is very, very common. So one thing that could be done is we could allow them, again, in the contract, everything's always in a contract, right? We could allow them to stay in the property past day 10, so day 11 on for X days, okay? So by doing that, they get to stay in the property until they figure out what they're going to do, or maybe it's just a couple more days. So it could be 5 days, it could be 10 days, whatever the contract wants. Now we could charge either nothing per day, right, as an incentive for them to take this offer, or what we can do is charge them a per day if we want. So just like if we don't close, we get a penalty, okay? If they want to stay in the property, that's great. Then they would just pay as a per day on that. So why don't we go back over those 5 really quick? We want a faster escrow. I'm using 10 days as a rule of thumb. No contingencies. So there's no inspection contingencies, appraisal contingency, loan contingency, etc. Okay, number 3, have cash ready. So you want to have your cash ready so you can close quick and there's no delays. Number 4, give them put a penalty on yourself to give them money past what you agreed upon, right? Day 11, 12, etc. Hack number 5, offer them a rent back if they need it. Or closing quick, maybe they didn't have time to do what they want to do, move, get their stuff out. So maybe you can give them a rent back. Now, let me stop there. I'm going to finish this in a couple more minutes. But if you want to be a cash buyer and you're not concerned necessarily with a discount, with closing as fast, you still want to do inspections, that's fine. I have a lot of clients and potential clients that contact me and say, hey, Scott, I'm selling it someplace else and I have a lot of equity. Or, I've been saving up and I'm going to be paying cash, right? People that don't have money, right? I'll phrase it that way, that don't have money would be surprised. Something around 20 to 25%, depends, which areas, the time of year, if prices are going up, going down, but something around 25% of all buyers are cash. So there's a lot of cash buyers in the market that you are competing with, even if you're not an investor, even if you just want to find a place that you like, that you want to live in as your primary residence, you're dealing with people with cash, with hedge funds, wealthy investors, large fix and flip groups that have tons of money. You're dealing with these types of people. But maybe you want to be a cash buyer, but you don't want to go that quickly. You simply want to close in about 30 days, but you want to go cash versus getting a mortgage loan. I have a lot more clients like that. That's no worries. It's not stressed. Then we don't have to worry about closing fast. We're not probably going to be getting a discount, but if you don't want to close faster, that's fine. If you don't want to get rid of those contingencies, that's fine. If you don't want to do rent back, that's fine. You simply want to do the correct steps that anybody else would in about 30 days. The only difference is that you pay cash versus a loan. That's no worries whatsoever. I'm going to end the video there. Don't forget there's show notes below, and I'd love to help you. If you're a cash buyer, if you're selling someplace else, if you want to do something creative where you're paying for cash and not getting a mortgage loan, I would love to talk to you. Give me a phone call, email, or text, and I look forward to chatting with you sometime soon.